without further ado, I am 100% pleased and proud to introduce Alfie Romero. Alfie, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Cleve. Good to see you. Good to talk to you. It's been a while, but thank you so much for the invitation to come onto the program here.
Well, and for those of you who are thinking, okay, who is this guy? Well, Alfie and I don't remember what year it was probably 2015, maybe. Started working together at WGST. Alfie was my technical producer. And at one point for probably, Alfie, 3 years, we actually recorded the shows, or we did the shows from the studios down there on Peachtree Street. And so you were sort of like a co-host, because you and I just talked back and forth for the entire show. And Alfie is still today, and I just love this, that we've been together so long. Alfie is still the technical producer on the show, so he's making sure that it sounds good. So when it gets broadcast, it is nice for everybody to listen to. So when we first met, you and I did the show in the studio together, and fairly early on, you really started enjoying having real estate conversations. So my question for you is, what was it that made you so interested in real estate all those years back?
I don't know, Cleve. I think it was a combination of a lot of things. I think I knew eventually that I was going to move out of my home, and so I was kind of always looking at homes and saying,
Yep.
that'd be a nice place to live.
Yep.
Also, being a sports fan and baseball, basketball, stats are always been fascinating to me. So when you're throwing out numbers and stats and statistics and all of that always kind of interested me a little bit to hear the numbers, because I'm a numbers guy. So.
Yep.
When you were coming out with your monthly reviews and saying how the numbers were for, and even now on the shows now, your weekly updates on numbers and what's going on in the real estate market here locally in Atlanta. So that always fascinates me. And I mean, homes are beautiful. It's like, when I was shopping for homes and we were looking at different homes, it's like I could have bought every one of them that I would looked at. And and luckily for me, Cleve Gaddis was my agent during
Yes.
during that process, and thanks to you and Michelle and everybody there at your place was very helpful, and now living in the future home for my kids and myself, because being in our old home in Stockbridge, you had been there. It was very small, and
it was a long way away from everything.
Yeah,
and now you're up.
I was working in Kennesaw and driving from Stockbridge to Kennesaw on a daily basis, and that's when I first started we were first fostering the boys. So I'd get home from work at about 7:30, 7:45. So by the time I got home from work, the kids had already
were in bed.
Sleeping in bed.
So yeah. So when you and I first started working together, you were not married.
Correct.
And you didn't have any kids. And so I feel like we went on that whole journey together, and I just freaking loved it. I got to ask real quick, there was a special way that I've heard that you proposed to Kimber, and I think it'd be cool for everybody to know what you did.
Yes. So Kimber, I proposed to Kimber on The Price is Right.
Only Alfie could do it on The Price is Right. I love it.
Well, Kimber had planned our 1-year anniversary trip to Los Angeles. She wanted to go check out where I grew up, in Long Beach, where my house was and where I grew up. And she knew I was a big fan of, obviously, The Price is Right. So she got us tickets to a taping of the show. And I was sitting around with a bunch of friends of ours, and just kind of, they were asking me how things were going. I was telling them, we were reaching the 1-year mark, and, I was really serious about it. And I told them I was going to The Price is Right for our 1-year anniversary, and they were just like, the moons and the stars have aligned, and it seems like that might be the perfect opportunity. When will you ever have an opportunity to do that? And I was like, you know what, it makes sense. So I went and bought a ring, and we flew out there for the vacation, and then we went to the taping. And during one of the commercial breaks, while they were setting up for the next game and everything, the producer had me come out on the backstage and made the announcement. I don't think anyone knew what was going on. Right. I think everyone on the crew and Drew and all those guys just kind of didn't know what was going on. And I made the announcement, and then the whole audience gave us a standing ovation, and Drew talked to us from the stage. We had a little conversation, and then and then as we were after the taping was over and we were exiting the studio, we still had people who were coming up to us and said, giving us congratulations, and it was crazy because we had to keep it a secret because the show hadn't aired yet. So they asked us not to wait till the show had aired to do anything. And then luckily, Good Morning, the CBS morning show, knew about what was going on. So the day the episode aired, they had us come in for an interview on the CBS morning show to talk about it. So yeah, so it was great.
And fortunately, she said yes.